What's up, Jets fans? Here we are. I'll tell you, it's going to be a little different show today. I'm going to be real honest with you. It's going to be a different show. Welcome, though. I am happy that you are here. I want to say happy welcome. I want to say happy welcome to all the new people. I don't know if I've ever said happy welcome before, but I want to say it now. So I said it. There it is. Happy welcome to all the new people. If you've never been here before, welcome. If you're coming back, thank you. Thank you for coming back. As you know, you guys know this already. I love you guys. You know that. I love talking with you. Some of you annoy the living hell out of me, and I love that too. I do. It reminds me of my damn home life, my family. You know what I mean? In Nutley, New Jersey, yay! In Bloomfield, and Belleville, and Newark, and Clifton, and all the places. You know what I mean? That's where we grew up. That's where we were. And then I was out in Lake Hiawatha, but that's a whole different thing. That's where I lived. So this is GreenBean's Jets Pod. I am GreenBean. I am happy, again, that you are here, but I'm not happy to be here. Does that make any sense? I am not happy right now. And here's the reason why. Now, the Jets lost, and I was under no illusions that the Jets would win every single game forever and ever and ever. I just didn't think that was real. People were telling me, looking at the schedule, not everybody, but people have told me. I honestly think the Jets can go undefeated. See, this is how nuts we get. You know what I mean? It goes from like fire Saleh, Joe Douglas sucks, to we're going to never lose another game. That's why I wonder. But see, I'm disappointed, and I consider myself somewhat of a realist. I teeter and somewhere in the middle. Some days I get a little negative, some days I get a little psyched, but I'm always somewhere in the center. You know what I mean? I am. And I thought today was bad. I thought we gave the game away. And let me tell you something about that. I don't like that. Getting beat is one thing. Getting beat is one thing. Giving the game away is another. Now, look, we know we've done this so many times. This is nothing necessarily new, right? We know this feeling. We've been here before. We even this year got to be on the other side of it a few times. We did it in Cleveland. We did it in Pittsburgh, right? So Denver may have thought they gave the game away last week. They didn't. We beat them, but that's a whole different thing. So, you know, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You know what I mean? Like, it's what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It goes both ways. Any more of those? What do you want? So, but today was the game. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. I know you know what I mean. So I didn't like it. I didn't like today, and I didn't like the way we did it. And I didn't like the result, and I don't like how I feel right now. And I knew losses were coming, but this one, to them, I don't like it. I don't. So, episode 90 of GreenBean's Jets Pod. Now, I'm going to shoot real straight with you before we get into episode 90. You have to, if you know me at all, you know exactly who I'm going to talk about. You know exactly why I'm going to talk about him. And you know my affinity for this particular player that we're going to do in our player profile. But I want to tell you something first. You see, I went all the way out to Norfolk, Virginia today, and I just got back. So I drove. Took us 2 hours and 15 minutes to get there this morning. Took me 2 hours and 45 on the way back. So that's 5 hours and change of driving today, with nestled right in the middle as a shit turd of a game. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm tired, man. Right now it's about 8:30 on Sunday night. I'm hoping to get this edited and get this out to my beanbaggers and then to you. Most of you will be watching this Monday morning or after that, right? But so I just pulled up. I set up my whole studio again because I had to tear it out to take a lot of the stuff with me to Norfolk. And I had to set it all up. And I usually do a couple hours of like interviews and post games and box score analyzation and maybe even rewatch some condensed game footage. I still did a little bit of that. I watched like 10 minutes. I did. I can't help it. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about my player profile. and we're going to let it hang out. I'm going to give you whatever the hell comes out. We're not doing it. We're just going to talk. We're going to hang out. If there's a vent, there's a vent. If there's a deconstruction, there's a deconstruction. If there's anger, there's anger. If there's delightful happiness and we get there and we find a beautifully blissful solution to life, then we do that. That's what we're going to do today, okay? Brace yourselves. This is going to be different. And I think appropriately so. Because our player profile is my favorite Jet throughout the period of time of my favorite team. Like you guys know, I became a Jets fan during the sack exchange. Those were the guys that got me. Mark Gastineau, Joe Klecko way up top, Marty Lyons, Salam, and the rest right after them. On offense, it was Richard Todd. Wesley Walker was big for me. I loved Freeman McNeil. Loved him. He's my favorite offensive player from that era, period. Mickey Schuler, ultimately Toon and Kenny O, and all those guys. Loved them. Loved them. That was the first team for me. It was the ones that made me a Jets fan. But the team where I was like approaching adulthood. I was 18, whatever, from 16 to like 22, whatever. That was my team. That was the team I knew inside and out. It was the first team I like really dug into the draft picks. I knew who they were coming in. I knew you could ask me any player on 3 tiers deep. I knew them for the first time. When I was a kid, I just knew this. I knew the names, But this was the team, like the first time I like leaned over into obsessive Jets fan. And Dennis Byrd was my favorite Jet of my favorite team. Dennis Byrd. B-Y-R-D. You wore the number 90, episode 90. You see? I wore the number 90 because of Dennis Byrd. Everywhere I went, people knew. Jets fans knew right away. Holy shit, this guy's wearing a Dennis Byrd. And you don't see Dennis Byrd jerseys. Even back then, you didn't. You saw Rob Moore. You saw Browning Nagel, Kenny O'Brien. You see those. Even Lageman. You'd see Lageman. So Dennis Byrd played for the New York Jets from 1989 to 92. And we all know how it ended. If you don't, I'm going to tell you right now. Now, it ended by him being paralyzed on the Giant Stadium field right in front of our eyes. I was at that game, and we didn't know what the hell was going on. Anybody that was there will tell you. Ask them if you know somebody was there. It was eerie, man. Dennis Byrd, like we were playing the Chiefs, David Craig, their quarterback, stepped up. Dennis Byrd, who admittedly was in a slump at that point in his career, he had been dominating at the defensive tackle. I mean, he was dominant at the defensive tackle position. This year, he was slow. He just wasn't doing all that great. He was doing all right in the run, but he wasn't getting the sacks that everybody expected from Dennis Byrd. So he's playing really hard. He comes around the edge, and he David Craig steps up and he slams head first into his own teammate, co-defensive tackle Scott Mercereau. And they laid on the field for what felt like hours. It was just silent in the stadium. Nobody knew what was happening. I mean, honest to God, looked like they were dead. Now, Scott Mercereau, who was less hurt, ended up getting up first, and whatever. And then Dennis Byrd just laid there. And obviously, they were afraid to move him and the whole thing. And it was a whole big to-do. And we were there, and it was crazy. Then, after that, we found out he was paralyzed. Okay? It was a big deal. Now, I'll add this really quickly, and this is why I like the Islanders. An ode to Matt O'Leary and his team and all Islanders fans. I was not into hockey at the time. And this is during the Pierre Turgeon, Darius Kasparaitis, Healy. Those guys were on the Islanders at the time. And what they did, because they kind of shared a training facility, like the Islanders played at Nassau, the Jets practiced at Hofstra, and their headquarters was there, and it was all like the same complex. So the Islanders, in solidarity with the New York Jets, wore the number 90 sticker on their helmets, as the New York Jets did. And it was a number 90, and it had like that fish. What's it called again? I'll tell you right now. I wrote this down. An ichthys. Do you know that was what it was called? I had to write it down. I was like, I don't know what the hell. Ichthys. Really? That's what that's called? I know. So they wore a little sticker with the number 90 and the ichthys. And the Islanders wore it too. And from that moment on, I said, I'm an Islanders fan. Now, I was from New Jersey. I tend to lean Devils and all that before that. But I wasn't a big hockey guy. From that year, I watched hockey obsessively for the next decade. Because of that. Because of what they did. It touched me so deeply. But I'm going to tell you guys an interesting story. So we were at the game, and I used to go to the games with the same group of guys. Joe the Cop, who I've introduced many of you to on the shows, on the streams. His name is Joe Patty. He's retired now. He's a cop I can't believe it. We're on that end of it, but he's been a cop forever. Long family history of cops. And there were other guys, Anthony Gisto. I haven't talked to him in decades. Ron Trezuzzi. All these guys, Frank Baden, all those guys. We used to go to the game together every week for years and years and years. And tailgate and the whole thing. So we're at the game, we leave, and the New York news is a flutter, trying to figure out what's going on with Dennis Byrd. We find out he's paralyzed, likely paralyzed, and they announce what hospital he's in. Now, two of my friends, being the ilk that we are, decided to go see him at the hospital. This is the night that the injury happened. They decide, hey, let's go to the hospital and visit Dennis Byrd. And they literally asked me, I said, you're out of what the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. What are you talking about? What are you doing? So my other friends, dude, you guys are nuts. So two of them go, Anthony and Ronnie. They decide, let's go and we'll bring them something. We got to go. They're overcome with feelings that they don't know how to handle, and they decide to scoop up a few things from their house. So they grab a box of Girl Scout cookies that is almost finished. It's like a quarter left of Girl Scout cookies. I think they were tag-alongs too, like the shitty ones, right? So nobody likes tag-alongs, man. Right? Is that the ones they're like plain with the two Girl Scout heads on it? Lame-ass cookies. So they grab those, like let's say half a box of cookies, right? So they grab that, and then they go into their refrigerator, and they see a pumpkin pie with a slice taken out of it. So they grab that. It's almost a whole pie. So you got Girl Scout cookies and the pie, and they drive to the hospital. Now, I think Mount Sinai, right? I don't know. I forgive me. I don't remember the hospital. I'm sure I could look it up and find out, but I didn't. So they drive to the hospital. And I guess like security and nobody in the world thinks that this is going to happen. This is back in 1992. So they're just like, nobody would do this. So my friends go to the hospital. They get out of their car. They're holding a pie and some Girl Scout cookies. And they walk in the hospital. They go up to his floor. They get in the elevator. They go up to his floor. They walk out of the elevator. And they walk to his room. Now, at his room, somebody's like, whoa. They're wearing their Jets jerseys. They look like typical Paisan Jets fan. You know the guy? There's thousands of them at every Jets game. That's the guy I'm talking. So they say, hey, guys, what are you doing? They said, no, we just want to come and support. We want to tell him we love him. And we brought him something to help make him feel better. It's funny. This has been a funny story my whole life, but I'm tearing up. I'm choking right now. I don't know why. I've never choked on this one before. So they get to the room. They tell him, hey, we want to help him feel better. So the family member or whoever it was says, guys, you can't go in there. There's doctors and the whole thing, and you got to leave. And they say, please give him this stuff from us. Fucking pumpkin pie with a slice taken out and a half a box of Girl Scout cookies. So, and they give it to him and they leave. And they say, sure, kids, we'll give it to them. Now, they're probably 25, 26 at this time. I was like 20, I don't know, 1992, how old was I? I just graduated high school, so I was probably 19 at this point. So they were a little older, maybe 23, 24. So they say, okay, go, get out. And they take the pie and they take the cookies. Now, later on, September, only a year later. So that happened on November 29th, 1992. On September 5th, 1993, the Jets' home opener against the Seattle Seahawks. I was at that game too. Dennis Byrd ceremonially walks out to midfield. And we lost it. We lost it. He was never supposed to walk again, blah, 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 blah. So he walks out to midfield. And he does the whole thing. He's slow in the whole thing. He's very ginger. And he walks out and everybody's nuts. Now, he had just written a book called Rise and Walk with a co-author, Michael Diorso, a journalist that, probably ghostwriter kind of a thing. So they write the book. And after the game, they say Dennis Byrd is going to be signing books outside the stadium after the game. So we go there. Now, we have copies of the book. We all have the book. And my buddies, we all go there, and there's a big circle around Dennis Byrd. It's not very organized. It's just like a big mob of people, and people are walking up, and he signed the book, and he'll say a few words. What do you want me to do? My friend Anthony walks up, and he's in the crowd, and he just decides to yell, "Hey, Dennis, we love you. We made it to your hospital room. We brought you cookies." And Dennis Byrd, who's signing a book, looks up and goes, "You mean that box of crumbs?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, come here. And he told him to come up. And he wrote in the book, "Thank you for the," I'm getting all fucking choky. He said, "Thank you for the crumbs." And he told my friend, if I remember correctly, it meant the world to him that fans would do that, It's a crazy story. Like, I could have went. I didn't. I said, you're out of your minds. I mean, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. But it ended up being this beautiful thing. Now, Dennis Byrd, whose number is now retired, it was actually retired while he was still alive. So it was unofficially retired for many years. And then in 2012, they decided to retire it. And they brought him out there and the whole thing. And he got to see all that, and have that honor bestowed upon him. And Dennis Byrd, who, won his rookie year, he had 7 sacks from the defensive tackle position. His sophomore year, he had 13 sacks, then 7 sacks again. And then 92, he had the season cut short, but he only had 1 sack at that point. Again, he was having like a little bit of a down year in his 4th year. But he was dominant, 13 sacks, 7, 13, 7. He was the best. They retire his number. And then in 2016, on his birthday, a 17-year-old kid, story is he's drunk. At least that's how I remember the story. It doesn't say that. I'm looking on the internet now. It doesn't say that, but I remember it with him being drunk. Forgive me if that's incorrect. The kid, 17-year-old kid, veered over the highway and hit Dennis Byrd head on, and he died. 50 years old. His 12-year-old son was in the car. And thankfully, he lived. But fuck. So, there he is. Our player profile for episode 90. The late, great Dennis Byrd. You know what it is? It's not so much like, that like I'm so sad because he's a football player or anything. It's not that. I mean that sincerely. For me, it's like I'm very sad about the story for him as a person, but it's the connection that I had. It's that. There's an in-between. It's like there's a young man who was, if I'm going to be real honest with you guys today, fuck it, right? Why not? Who was just starting to get pretty bad with some addiction stuff. Just then, 19 years old. So do you see? There's like a weird connection there for me. And all the years I played, football after high school and all that stuff, I wore the number 90. I always did for Dennis Byrd. And it sucks to tell that story. It's a great story. It really is. But I haven't told it. I think I told it on one live stream a while ago, but it didn't have that feel. It didn't have that impact on me. But hey, That's for you, huh? Take it. Take it. Rub it in later if you'd like. I don't give a shit. So, let's go out of our Dennis Byrd section, number 90, episode 90 of GreenBean's Jets Pod, Dennis Byrd segment, and let's go into the news of the week. Yeah, so, what a day, everybody. What a day. Now, the news of the week will consist of a bunch of stuff leading into this situation that was not supposed to happen this way. Did you hear Bart Scott before the game talking about it's personal for the Jets? It's personal. The Jets need to let them know as the Patriots, the old dynasty, limps into their stadium. They have to let them know you don't belong here anymore. You don't belong. You're sneaking into the playoffs at 9 or 10 wins. You're limping in. Oh, you got a hurt leg? Kick him in the leg. Go for the jugular. Choke him out, he said. And that's what we were supposed to do. Now, let me say this, too. The whole game, not for 1 second until the 7 minutes into the third quarter, not for 1 second before that did I think we were not winning this game. Why? Because we're better than the Patriots, in my opinion. They have one thing over us. Well, two, really. Two. They have a coach who's established, knows the ins and outs of the NFL rigmarole like no one else. I mean, he's Tom Landry, right? He's Don Shula. Now, I hated all those guys. So just so we know, I did. Tom Landry a little bit. He didn't have that much impact on me. But I didn't like him anyway. As a little kid. Don Shula I couldn't stand, okay? And for obvious reasons. But Dan Marino and all that shit. So, Bill Belichick, he's that guy. He's that guy. He knows everything about everything that ever could be in the NFL. He knows what situation. And he's not perfect and he can be beat, of course. But he happens to hate the Jets more than any other team. He loves to stick it to this particular organization. So I returned the feelings in kind to him. And I thought the entire game, I believed, we're a better team. We have the gumption. We have the lead up energy, the momentum. We have the talent. And we have the buy-in from the team. Now, honest to God, there was some mistackling, right? There was some sloppiness. Even with that, Zach throwing, the pass to Garrett Wilson, some to Conklin, who just wouldn't go down. He was like a fucking Viking, you know what I mean? He was running people over. And I said, yeah, dude, we got this. James Robinson hitting the hole nice and hard for the plays he was in. Michael Carter looking slippery, 4, 5, 6 yards a run. We're looking good. The other thing that they have that we don't is a quarterback situation where they don't need him to be great. They just need him to be able to do the normal stuff. That's it. That's all they ask him to do. Every now and then you take a shot, sure. But they just ask their quarterbacks, we're going to give you 10-yard outs. We're going to give you little screens. We're going to make sure your tight end is open on a slant over the middle. You just got to get him the ball. That's it. That's all you got to do. And their quarterbacks can do that, whether it's Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi. Today it was Mac Jones. Or this week it was Mac Jones. And that's the difference between the Jets and the Patriots. It's the truth. We have talent all over the field. Now, granted, another thing that we have this week particularly is that we lost major facets of what was helping us to roll like we have been. And we know this. We talked about it all week. We had Breece Hall, AVT, Corey Davis. They're all out. Now, Breece Hall and AVT are out for the season. Corey Davis is going to come back at some point. But we're also on our fifth offensive tackle. Fifth offensive tackle making his first start in this game. There was pressure. There was pressure. And sometimes there was complete breakdowns on the line. But the truth is there was also some very good play by that unit, especially considering what's going on. Right? Yeah. You had, like, again, I say this all the time. Like, stuff happens in the NFL season. You lose a guy, somebody, something, whatever. All kinds of stuff takes place. You as an organization have to account for that. I say it all the time. That's what separates the great coaches from the good coaches from the bad coaches, and the bad coaches from the dog shit. Okay? That's what it is. It's the ability to account for what's happening in real time, to adjust and or hide weaknesses, cover them, draw their attention elsewhere, exploit their weaknesses, whatever it is. Like, if all of a sudden a weakness takes place let's say on their defense, let's say they have we're not running this way or we're not throwing this way because the cornerback's locked down and the right side. And during the game, the cornerback goes down and they stick a wide-eyed rookie in there. And it's first start. Is it better for your staff just to stay the course with the game plan or go, ooh, changing things. Sorry, changing it up. We're going to go there instead. What's better? Now, there's honor in staying the course, especially weathering all the onslaughts of whether they're insults, non-believers, obstacles, difficulties. It's commendable to be able to stay the course during that. And I have no problem with that. But there has to also be the ability to recognize what's going on in real time, whether it's to exploit a weakness on their team or to cover a weakness on our team. And we have to know whether it's adding protections, whether it's speeding up the play itself. Look, when you have a shoddy offensive line with your fifth tackle and guys moving all over the place, you're on your second guard and fifth tackle. Maybe, just maybe, you got to keep their defense off of you by doing a bunch of quick stuff that gets guys worrying about that. So they got to, they got to back off a little bit. They can't just do that. Now, the other side to that is maybe you are doing that and your quarterback can't hit it, right? Your quarterback can't do it. So what do you do, right? Belichick was able to do that. Now, let's just take a look real quick at some box scorey stuff, all right? We know the final score was 22-17 Jets. Now, the Jets scored us a touchdown with 2 minutes, minute and 55, something like that left. So the score was really 22-10 until the last minute. Now, that's okay. I don't call it a garbage touchdown because we were trying to win. And we've done it before. It's like somebody in the chat said, oh, I can't believe you guys actually believed that you'd get an onside kick. It's like, why wouldn't I believe? We just did it. We just did this. This is real. This happened. That's the same kicker that did it last time. This is the same team. Now, the odds, sure, the odds are against you. For sure. Getting two, I get it. But here's what it looked like on the Jets side of the ball. Now, Zach Wilson, now Rich Cimini can stop writing this and the rest of these guys. Zach Wilson gets his first 300-yard game. 355 yards on 20 completions. He threw the ball 41 times. He also got 2 touchdowns. Look at that damn stat line, man. 20 for 41, less than 50%, so there's that. 355 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then there's the other thing. The other thing that indicates that Zach Wilson might have been trying even harder to lose this game than win it. And that is the 3 interceptions. Very, very poor decisions by Zach Wilson. Can we say that they were his fault yet? These. Now, I'm with it. The other, he had a couple others, and one Conklin went through his hands. I'm with that. It's not his fault. Good pass right in his hands. Drops it. Pick. The other one we say, Elijah Moore, lazy route, and all this stuff. What about these? Are these Zach's yet? Does Zach have interceptions yet? So these, to me, look like they might be Zach Wilson's fault, especially because they were crazy looking. I don't even know what he was thinking. on 2 of them. 1 I do, 2 I don't. Now let's take a look at that stat line, okay? 355 yards on 41 pass attempts. Now we know that the Patriots have had struggles with their running defense. That's their weakness, particularly quarterbacks, but rushing defense as well. The Jets decide to rush the ball 14 times in the entire game. 14. Now, Michael Carter got 7 of those. I think that's appropriate that he had the most. He has a 3.7 yard average. Not bad. 26 yards. Looked good to me. He looked good to me. He looked like his legs were fresh. He was ready to go. 7 rushes in the whole game. James Robinson, our new toy, gets 5 rushes. And Ty Johnson got 2 for 6 yards. James Robinson had 3.4 yard average. He had 17 yards. He looked effective too. So I don't know what it was that made Mike LaFleur decide that this was the game that Zach Wilson needed to be something that he hasn't been yet. I don't know. I don't know why. And there's questions to be had there. Where's the why? Where's the run? I know Breece Hall's hurt. So are we afraid? Are we afraid to use Michael Carter, James Robinson, Ty Johnson, and Bam Knight, who was elevated but not active? Like, why can't we use these guys? Why? 14 rushes the whole game. Now, Zach Wilson also had a rush for 2 yards. But that's not a rush. That's a pass play. Okay? I wonder if it counts. You know what I mean? I don't know how he dropped back to pass. It's probably really 42 pass plays, but they call it a rush, so 41. So it's even worse, right? So this is an issue that I have. I have this issue. This was the game, in my opinion, that the running game should have been battering them all day long. If we're getting 4 yards a clip, 5 yards a clip, 4 yards, 5 yards, you win the game. You keep your defense off the field. We didn't do that today. Mike LaFleur decided to drop Zach back 41 times. Now, I also want to point out, because the 355 yards would be somewhere around 270 yards, 269 yards maybe, without one play from a guy that they just don't want to use, and that is Denzel Mims. I don't know. So Denzel Mims had, let's see what that. Denzel Mims had 2 receptions for 76 yards. So without Denzel Mims, Zach Wilson has, less than 200 yards. That one big play, Denzel Mims, he basically put us in position to score the touchdown and the whole thing. So this is, now, and the other thing is Elijah Moore, who said as much after the game. Like, look, I don't like the way Elijah Moore is talking. I don't like the way I think he's ruining it. That's what I think. I think he's a poison pill. If it was up to me, he'd be sitting. But if he's going to play, how about you use him? Did you hear Elijah Moore's comments after the game? He said, hey, they asked him, what's your situation like? What's your chemistry like with Zach Wilson? He said, I can't even tell you. I don't get the ball. I don't know. I don't have any chemistry. And you can see it in his body language. He plays. He'll do the play. He does the fake, the whole thing that he does. And he walks back. He doesn't talk to anybody. He's just, he's done. He's out. He's not a part of the crew anymore. So you got to recognize that. Get him off and put somebody else in. That's it. It's it. Until he wants to be a man and own up to whatever it is. And if we want to ask you to lay down on every play because that's going to help the team succeed, then you lay down on every play. That's the way I see it. It's the way I see it, man. But that said, what the hell's wrong with us? Why can't we figure out how to use Elijah Moore? The fastest, quickest guy on the team as far as routes and all that, without question. Lightning quick, surgical with his route running. Why can't we figure out how to use that guy? And in the same breath, you got 6'3" Denzel Mims, who every time you leave him in there for a second, throwing the ball, he gets yak every single time. Why can't we figure out how to use these two guys? Who is it that's the perfect guy for this team? Why can't we, at the same time, like we abandon the run game and we won't use Elijah Moore and Denzel Mims? What is it? Now, some of the blame is LaFleur. Clearly. But a lot of the blame, everybody, is going on Zach Wilson. The guy had a terrible game. I'm going to say it. He regressed today. Now, anybody defending him up to this week, don't forget, man, like a guy like myself who tries to walk the middle and be critical when there's bad and be happy and constructive and uplifting when there's good. I have gotten killed even today. I got killed by both sides. The Zach, apologists, they're being called. I don't know if that's appropriate, but let's just, you know who that is. The Zach apologist told me that I'm being, I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I'm giving up, all those kinds of things. And then on the other side, with the Zach haters, they're telling me that I'm an apologist. Like, how can both be true? Here's what I'm going to say. The kid is struggling, man. And here, it's not even the big stuff. He's really struggling to see open receivers like his running backs right in front of him. And again, I have to watch the all 22, which I will do. I need to see, man. Because today it looked to me, there were numerous times where I screamed, throw it to him. Like, I see him wide open and it's only 4 yards. Take it. Take the 4 yards. Maybe your running back gets 3 more. That's 7. Take it. Numerous times. He missed Conklin numerous times. He missed Garrett Wilson again. He missed Michael Carter. He throws it into his feet. If Mike LaFleur didn't abandon the run game today and identify that Zach Wilson is having himself a freak out day, I don't know if it's Bill Belichick. Oh, last time I threw 4 picks. I don't know, 54-13. They hurt my knee. Whatever it was, you got to look into his eyes, man. And if he's all glazed or if he's doing that stuff, sit him. Because the rest of the team is playing their asses off. Now, I'm not a fan of benching guys, particularly quarterbacks that are young and you're trying to evaluate. But you can still evaluate them. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, Zach Wilson's throwing pick after pick after pick. Just sit him down. They had Mike White with his damn helmet on. For whatever reason, he's standing on the sideline with his helmet on. I don't know why. If you're going to do it, do it. And let Mike White dink and dunk with the running game, and let's see if we can't get out of this with a W and reevaluate to going into Buffalo and put Zach back in. I don't know. No, I don't know where Flacco's inactive. They raised Streveler. He's inactive. I look like there's a lot of confusion, right? A lot of confusion. But we gave this game away. If you thought that was a difficult enough game, that we were outmatched, we were outclassed, you're nuts. You're nuts. We should have won that game. And with the missed field goal, and with the drive down to the 10 on the Garrett Wilson, beautiful pass from Zach to Garrett Wilson, and he gets another 10 yards a yak doing the Garrett Wilson thing. And we end up stalling because we 3 passes, I think. Like we're on the 10-yard line, man. Some play, it's like, well, I don't know. We abandoned the run game. When Zach Wilson is the liability, Zach Wilson is the question mark, I think we should take some heat off him. So it's both. It really is. Now, the defense missed tackles. It happens. But they stiffened. And the defense played their asses off today. Can we say anything else? 22 points after giving the ball away 3 times to the Patriots. I mean, come on. And special teams even broke down a little bit today. I mean, our field position for the defense was ridiculous today. 5 sacks, a pick. Should have been 2 picks, but the JFM thing. So we gave the game away, guys. Now, we're going to have to really talk about this stuff with Zach Wilson and Mike LaFleur. Mike LaFleur is right now, currently, disconnecting us from core type of players. Elijah Moore. 3 weeks ago, he was a core player. Now, he's completely dejected, distant. I don't know. Ask somebody else. I don't even get the ball. He's got zero targets for zero receptions for 0 yards. I don't know what to say. They're not even looking at him. Denzel Mims had 3 targets. The one was out of bounds. You know the one. He was threw the ball out of bounds. He jumps up, he makes a great catch, but the ball's out of bounds. He finally hit C.J. Uzomah today. That was nice to see. One catch, 27 yards. Our tight ends wanted to bring the pain. So it's one of those games, man. And it sucks that it's the Pats, guys. It does. It sucks that it's the Pats. But it doesn't mean that the season is over. Did we really believe that we were not going to lose any more games? And even if we go 5, and now we're 5-3, and if we go 5-4 before the bye, and even if we're 5-5 after the Patriots and we lose to them again, even if, it's still better than most people had us, and we still have the back half of the season playing the Lions, the Jaguars, the Bears, all the teams that are not supposed to be world beaters, teams that we can hang with and can beat. The season's not over. Like yesterday, people were talking about Super Bowl. Today, we're talking about going winless. Like, I don't know. Guys, we can't do this. We can't do it. And I'll say one last thing about our friend Zach Wilson. His particular style of play, I said it during the live stream today, with the running backwards and all the stuff that he does, just the way that Zach Wilson plays this game of football makes me crazy. It's almost physically painful to me. It really is. It's like, I can't handle this guy. He is something like I've never seen in my life. I've never seen quarterback play like him. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's going to happen on any given play. And I don't know if I can handle it at this advanced age, my friends. I just don't know. Now, I'm rooting for the guy, of course. And I totally think without reservation, he needs to get this whole season. I think this. We need to see. And if we need to go another route, if they decide, dude, he's toast. Then he's toast, and you figure that out. But you don't know that until he plays this whole season. Let him. Now, today, I was in favor of bringing Mike White in. You know why? Because I saw the rest of the team playing their ass off, and I knew that all we have to do is hit the short shit, and we can win this game. That's how attainable this is. And Zach can't do it. He can't hit the broadside of a barn right now. He can't. Now, he came back, and he made some good catches, good threat passes, and he had his plays today. Don't get me wrong. But he was losing us the game, and I went against my normal tendency, which is stop it. He's playing. He's our quarterback. I think today they might have considered giving Mike White a quarter and letting the rest of the team just win. Just win. We could have won today, and that's what I think. And sadly to say, that is the news of the week. Yes. I don't. What will we do? Well, we're going to play Buffalo, and I'm going to tell you a short story about that. We're going to most likely get beat up. Most likely. Von Miller, Rousseau, all the guys. They're going to beat us up. Our offensive line is beat up. Maybe we're the kind of offensive line that's like, when the going gets tough. Maybe Max Mitchell comes back. Maybe we're bad. I don't know. I didn't even look at Aboye. How did he play today? I don't know. I got to look into all that stuff. But I'll tell you what I do know. I do know that Michael Carter II caught a pick six at the perfect time, recouping a very poorly chosen interception on the last minute and change of the half, which was a momentum killer. 17-3 at the half would have been a one click below a stab to the heart for them. I'm telling you. Instead, JFM, who's done this before, makes a stupid ass play. Now, what would you do in that situation? Would you say no problem? Would you punish JFM? What do you do? Because that was a 10-point swing. They came down. They scored a few. We gave them a free 3 points right there. And we took away our touchdown. Great play by Michael Carter. We don't get to see that often. It was gorgeous. So what do? Well, for that, let's get into the intelligent gripe. Oh, I don't know how intelligent it's going to be. I just don't. I don't know if I'm even saying anything that's worth calling intelligent, but let's go at it. Here's the thing. JFM did this before. He crushed the defense, big stand, 4th down, I believe, and he decides to give the quarterback an extra little something. Not that hard, but he did it. The ball was clearly gone. Now, long gone are the days that the defensive lineman gets 2 steps. Remember those days? Woo, woo, crack! That shit's over. Okay, it's gone. Now, anybody who didn't get the memo needs to be sat down and talked with. Now, if you got to buy them dinner, whatever it is, talk to them. Defensive linemen need to know. Now, I would be willing to give a pass to JFM because it wasn't that bad. 10 years ago, it's nothing. Today, we already know this. You give him a pass last time, and I was pissed about giving him a pass last time. They didn't, no repercussions. He was in the next play. Maybe he was out for a play, whatever, because of their rotation. This time, it's unacceptable, man. It's unacceptable. And this is the thing. Like, the last 4 weeks, I've been praising Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbricht, and to some degree, Mike LaFleur. I've had issues, right? But the team's buying in. We're finding ways to win. There's been growth, all the stuff. But one area that we've been watching our leaders, particularly Robert Saleh, just really not stand up in. With this one area, we just don't see it. And there's been numerous opportunities to crack down on this. And that's with accountability for stupid shit that crush the game, that change it. Huge plays. There are plays that change the game. That roughing the passer penalty, which was almost identical to the other one that he did and crushed that damn game, or at least that drive and all that jazz. And JFM was back in the third quarter. That was right before the half. I think he started the third quarter. They probably said, hey, man, I know, coach. I know. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Good enough. No. In my opinion, and that's all it is, there should have been a stiffer consequence. Enough. All of you. Enough. We're giving this game away. That's what I'd say. Are you bigger than the team, Elijah Moore? Stop it. Either get out there, do it, play 100%, or sit down. JFM, if you do that again, I will trade you. Can't have it, man. That's me. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I can't wait to hear your comments about it. And this is the thing, right? It's like, yeah, JFM played well today. Yeah, he's a good player. He's done well for us this season. Do you have, plot immunity? You know what I mean? Like in a story, it's like, does that mean like what? So we can't do it? We can't reprimand? We can't correct? What is it? Well, I don't need to correct him. He's a man. He knows what he did. I don't know if even that's what he said, but I'm just saying, like that kind of an attitude, shit doesn't fly. Something needs to happen. He'll learn. He knows. Believe me, he knows. Why does he know? He knew last time. He did it again. And here's the whole thing. I'm not anti-JFM. Of course not. I'm not anti-Robert Saleh. Of course not. But these are the differences. These are the things that need to happen in order for the team to get out of this layer where they stand right now, this vibrational level. We need to end it by making the tough decisions. Sure, we can get some wins. We can overcome some stuff. Sure. And that's all great and all positive. But if we're going to make the next step and not make stupid mistakes like that, not throw the ball, I'm kind of throwing it away, but I'm just fucking kind of throwing. How many times? Dude, he's got away with 2 of those. Zach Wilson. 2 of those that were almost picks because he laissez-faire. I'm kind of throwing it away, but I want to make it look good. I don't know what that is. Just throw it. You're out of the pocket. Get rid of it. And today it bit him in the ass. There needs to be accountability. Like benching Zach at that point. 3 picks, dude. What are you trying to make sure that last game, what are you meeting your mark? I don't want to be outdone by my last shitty performance. Sit him. That's not happening, kid. The whole team's playing their ass off. Blood, sweat, and tears. JFM, are you kidding me? Twice? Sit down and watch. And that's the unintelligent gripe. I can't possibly call that intelligent. Anyway, I'm with you guys. It feels good to get it out a little bit. But let me tell you, man, I still have tons of faith for this team. Tons. I just couldn't be happier with so many players on this team. I think we're failing a lot of them. I do. I think that we need to figure out how to congeal them by making sure everybody's included in the whole thing. You got to figure out how to use Elijah Moore or get rid of him. Get value if you can't use him. You got to figure out how to use Denzel Mims. You got to figure this stuff out. You just got to figure it out. You got to figure, why are we running the ball 14 times against a team that is susceptible to it? And it was working. Why? Why are we running the ball 14 times and 41 passes? Really 42. Why? We need to know these things. Guys, I hope you're okay. I hope you're not jumping off the ledge. There's no reason to. We lost the game. Sometimes a game is just a game. Sometimes a performance is just a performance. And that's what I think today is. Sadly, we're going to have another one next week. Who knows? Maybe we win. Maybe trap game, right? Yeah, the Jets are real and Buffalo's like, we're going to kick their ass and we beat them. Yeah, that'd be nice. It'd be nice. It'd be nice. That all said, thanks for stopping by for my tear-filled, uninspired shitfest. Keep your heads up, Jets fans. There's nothing wrong with having feelings. There's nothing wrong with being upset and still believing in the team. Those do fit. You can be upset and still believe in the team. You can be constructive and critical and still be positive and still be hopeful. They do fit. I know some people don't understand that, but it's the truth. Let go and you will see the light. Have a great week, everybody. We'll talk soon. And as always, go Jets.